Hello, friends. Welcome back to another episode of The Grateful Wife. I'm your host, Ashley Sachs. I'm so excited and grateful to be here. What I want to talk about today is something that's been on my heart for a very long time, and it's a certain viral TikTok from this past summer really brought this topic to the forefront of national conversation on love and marriage. The TikTok in mention is old news at this point, but you will remember it. It was none other than this woman, Camille, who confessed online that even though she had the perfect husband, whom she wouldn't change a thing, she was still unhappy in her marriage and wanted a divorce.
I don't know if I'm going to actually post this because this is super vulnerable for me and I'm a pretty open person. But earlier this year, I told my husband I wanted a divorce. And this would probably shock a lot of my friends and my family because I hadn't told anybody, okay? I walked myself through the logistics of where would I live, how would we split the time with the kids, who gets the dog, where all of those things, okay? Had a full breakdown. I feel like I have been searching for something in my relationship that we don't have for the whole time we've been married, which has been 10 years. There is not a single thing about my husband in and of himself that I do not love. Let me be very clear about that. He is the most self-disciplined, loyal, hardworking, good person that you could meet on this planet. And that is probably the reason why I have not left, okay? Our relationship and what my expectations are for my marriage and what they always have been are not met, right? Which I don't know if anybody's are. The reason that pushed me to even bring up divorce and talk about it was the fact that I feel like I can't be myself with my husband. And it's really confusing because I'm 32 years old. I am a mom of 3. And I still don't know who I am. So for me to be like, oh, I can't be myself or you don't love me for who I am, isn't really fair because I don't know who I am.
Now, this woman has been lambasted all over the internet. Some of the things that she's been called are pretty jarring. I don't want to lambast her any further and instead want to try to explain exactly what is happening, or rather, what happened with her. As someone who's been married for 12 years and have 2 children of my own, I think I'm qualified to speak on this topic and what this woman is going through because I've been there. So once upon a time, like all of us married women, I met my now husband. There were warm, fuzzy feelings that lasted for almost 2 years, and then we got married and we had children. Each one of those events were monumental, as they are to all of us who have experienced them. They really were the peaks of my life, if I'm being honest with myself. And then it seemed as though life began. Suddenly there were no more celebrations, except kids' birthdays, which are a lot of work to put on and a lot of money too. The bills start piling up, money starts to get a little bit tight, you're losing sleep because this kid's not sleeping in their bed, you're exhausted and have to maintain the home and also responsible for putting on dinner every night, getting the kids to bed on time, getting them up early to get them ready for school, and you to be to work on time. You do this for many, many years, and something happens to where you suddenly don't understand why you feel the way you do. You love your husband, you love your kids, but you still can't fight this feeling of wanting more. So what I just described is the natural progression of life that are filled with the peaks and the valleys. And sometimes the valleys can be quite long and boring and exhausting. And this is where the movies really failed us miserably. Every single rom-com, epic romance novel, you name it, they failed us because they sold us on a lie. They sold us that the warm, fuzzy feelings that we initially feel in a relationship will last forever, when statistically, science proves that this phase of love, known to all of us as the honeymoon phase, it only lasts between 12 to 18 months. And after you leave the honeymoon stage, you enter into the new phase of the relationship known as companionate love. This is a deep, affectionate attachment between 2 people who truly care for one another. It's characterized by character and commitment, along with trust, communication, It takes a lot of effort and sacrifice to keep the relationship healthy. There is happiness in sacrifice, and there is happiness in suffering. In the case of this woman, Camille, and the millions like her, their suffering is that the passion is now gone. The passion is always going to fade away. I hate to break it to you. And that's not me saying it, it's science. It will happen no matter who you find. It's the staying and the lasting and is what brings true, genuine joy in your life. It's the peaks and the valleys. It's the struggles, the good days, the bad. Why do you think that's all part of the marriage vows? Because marriage is for life. It's meant to be lived out till death, not when we get bored. So now, I admit, I was tempted to jump on Camille's back and chastise her for even thinking of divorcing her perfect husband. But if I could talk to her, I would say this: you're allowed to have feelings. You're allowed to have feelings of disappointment and dissatisfaction in a marriage. It's actually quite common and something that has been happening longer than you think. Literally an hour before I recorded this segment, I was reminded of a book I read about 5 years ago when I was at the peak of my despair and depression in my own life. It's a very old and famous book, and I was surprised that I enjoyed it and related to it so much. What's the book? It's Family Happiness by Leo Tolstoy. If there are any women out there watching who relate to the woman I have been speaking about, Camille, I highly recommend you all read this book. It was published in 1859. And what is it about essentially? I'm going to read you the Google overview because I didn't have time to write a summary of a book I read randomly 5 years ago. But this book did change me dramatically. So the moral of Leo Tolstoy's Family Happiness is that a fulfilling life, both for individuals and within a marriage, requires more than romantic passion and societal glamour. It emphasizes the importance of finding contentment in the everyday realities of domestic life, embracing duty and recognizing the value of lasting, albeit less outwardly exciting, love. The story suggests that true happiness stems from a balanced existence that incorporates both personal growth and commitment to family and community. The story begins with a passionate courtship and initial bliss. But Masha, the protagonist, eventually tires of the idealized romantic love and yearns for more. This disillusionment highlights the gap between romantic expectations and the realities of long-term commitment. Masha's initial attraction to the excitement of city life fades as she discovers a deeper sense of fulfillment in her quiet domestic life with Sergei, her husband. The story suggests that true happiness is not found in fleeting moments of passion or social whirlwinds, but in the enduring love and stability of a settled life. The story also touches upon the importance of duty and purpose within a family and community. Masha's journey involves finding her place and contributing to the well-being of her family and those around her. The ending suggests that the initial passionate phase of love evolves into a more mature, enduring love that is characterized by shared responsibility, mutual respect, and a sense of lasting companionship. This love is not an outwardly dramatic, but it provides a more stable and satisfying foundation for a fulfilling life. Do you see what I'm saying? None of these things are new. Women have been experiencing these feelings for years. But despite what society has been telling us for years, the answer to this conundrum is not to divorce your devoted husband. The answer is to grow up and mature personally and allow your marriage to grow up and mature as well. You're allowed to have feelings, but what you should not do is act on those feelings. They're feelings. They come and they go. This isn't something to base something as drastic and damaging and life-altering as divorce, most especially when there are innocent children in the picture. I am happy to announce that after Camille's TikTok went viral, she did a lot of soul-searching herself, and she actually came to these exact same conclusions herself. She has realized that what she was feeling is totally normal, and it actually is the sign of a healthy relationship. And I do think it's high time that all of us, mainly women, start recognizing this in our own marriages. We need to stop believing in the lies that we were sold of what marriage and relationships are supposed to be. We all grew up watching Disney princess movies and watching the happily ever afters of romantic comedies. We never saw the aftermath because, as you know, The valleys are not all that entertaining. If what you're looking for is excitement and passion and attention and adoration, those things are just not meant to last. So there's a beautiful passage at the end of Family Happiness that it really encapsulates how we should be approaching this season in our marriages. So Masha, who has since returned to her husband after her almost scandalous escapade in the city, is upset and ashamed of the things that she did in the past. And these are words of comfort that her husband tries to give her to accept that the past is the past and all its carefree excitements are now over, and it's time to embrace this new life for the sake of their children. So I'm going to read that for you now. Even while I spoke, I knew that my wishes and my petition were impossible. He smiled calmly and gently, and I thought of the smile of an old man. "How young you are still," he said, "and I am so old. What you seek in me is no longer there. Why deceive ourselves?" he added, still smiling. I stood silent opposite to him, and my heart grew calmer. "Don't let us try to repeat life," he went on. "Don't let us make pretenses to ourselves. Let us be thankful that there is an end of the old emotions and excitements. The excitement of searching is over for us. Our quest is done, and happiness enough has fallen to our lot. Now we must stand aside and make room for him, if you'd like," he said, pointing to the nurse who was carrying our son. "That's the truth, my dear one," he said, drawing my head and kissing it, not as a lover any longer, but as an old friend. I looked at him, and suddenly my heart grew light. It seemed that the cause of my suffering had been removed like an aching nerve. Suddenly I realized clearly and calmly that the past feeling, like the past time itself, was gone beyond recall, and that it would not only be impossible, but painful and uncomfortable to bring it back. And after all, was that time so good, which seemed to me so happy? And it was all so long, long ago. That day ended the romance of our marriage. The old feeling became a precious, irrevocable remembrance, but a new feeling of love for my children and the father of my children laid the foundation of a new life and a quite different happiness, and that life and that happiness have lasted until the present time. So meditate on that. That's all for today's episode of The Grateful Wife. I want to thank you for tuning in, and please don't forget to like and subscribe to this video channel, as I promise that there is a lot more where this comes from. And you can also follow me on all of my socials listed below. Thank you again for watching, and we'll see you next time. God bless. I want to take this opportunity to share with you all that not only do I have this podcast, but I also have my own life coach business where I help people through various difficulties in their lives. Some great, some small, but regardless, I have been able to help people from all walks of life realize their potential and their worth, and help them to achieve their goals. Whether you're struggling to get out of a toxic, abusive relationship, or you're a curious Christian looking to dip your toe into Catholicism, I cover a wide range of niche areas of coaching that I know you will benefit from. And if you're not sure where to get started, book a free 30-minute discovery call with me, and we can have a relaxing chat about anything that's on your heart. This is a zero pressure, zero judgment, 100% listening ear for you to share with me. I'll provide some advice and some actionable steps that you can take on your journey, and you decide whether you'd like me along for the ride or not. It's that easy. It's that painless. I'm not in this to make $1 million. I'm only doing this because I truly care about people, and I want to make a difference in as many lives as I can. So head on over to my site at www.amlifecoaching.com to schedule your free discovery call today.